Welcome everyone to Module 5, Why People Work. In our earlier modules, we looked at motivation from the perspective of the manager, what the manager can do to motivate staff members. In this next module, we'll look at motivation from the perspective of the employee. Specifically, we'll look at what drives people to work hard, to achieve, and to excel. We do this because any understanding of management must include an understanding of certain human impulses that drive our behavior. Here I'm not talking about any Myers-Briggs personality type or any other of those surveys that you might read about different personality types, extrovert, introvert, etc. I'm talking about something even more fundamental regarding work and the human species. That's why this topic is, or this module is about the nature of work and its implications for managers. So let's start by asking, why do we work? There are some obvious reasons why we work. We need income to survive. Social aspects. Hopefully we enjoy the people with whom we work. We enjoy the social interaction. We all look forward to the day when we don't have to work, or we can do whatever kind of work we feel like doing, long-term financial security. Career advancement. We all want to move forward in our careers, so we work hard. And there are certain cultural forces. I'm going to come back to this in a moment. All of these are important reasons why we work, but they're not as fundamental as what I'm going to talk about in a moment. Why we work, really. There's a more fundamental force driving us to work. That is the human impulse to be productive, to be creative, to experience the gratification of accomplishment. Let me repeat that. The human impulse to be productive, to be creative, to experience the gratification of accomplishment. Let's talk about this. What am I getting at here? Many theories have been propagated to explain this human impulse. Darwin believed that work is part of the evolution of man. Those who worked survived. Many of you were political science majors. You may have read about Karl Marx. Marx believed that work is the essence of man. Every aspect of Marx's economic, social, and political theory was derived from the premise that labor is inherent to the human species. It's not something that we learn that is external, but it is part of our essence. Child psychologists, observing children, see instinctive behaviors relating to work, such as building sandcastles at the beach. To this, you could add the cultural forces that I talked about earlier, including our education system, parenting, that reinforce the importance of work. Even religion, I'm told. In the book of Genesis, there's a suggestion that God is introduced to us as the omnipotent creator who makes man in his own image and invites man to work the soil and cultivate the care for the earth. In this context, work is part of the original state of man. Whichever of these theories you subscribe to, or any other theory you might read about, they point to the fact that we are driven to work. The more productive, creative, and challenging the work, the greater is the gratification. The great psychologist Robert Maslow recognized this when he conceived of his hierarchy of needs. Once our fundamental needs are achieved, most people strive for self-actualization. This is the penultimate stage in Maslow's hierarchy. This is where we seek fulfillment. We seek to become all we can be. We find meaning in our lives. The state of self-actualization is the full realization of one's potential. And getting to the state of self-actualization, for most people, maybe all of us, involves work. Work is the pathway to reaching this stage of self-actualization. Let's look at this from another perspective. What happens when we don't have work? What happens when we don't have work? There's been a lot of that over the last 5 years as the economy fell into recession and is slowly recovering. Unemployment has been very high. A lot has been written about unemployment. And a lot of that includes the psychological effects of unemployment. Aside from the very real implications of a loss of income, there are deeper, more profound implications. This slide shows just some of them, just a few of them. Insecurity, depression, loss of self-worth, loss of self-identity. Even people who are financially secure but lose their job will experience many of these psychological effects. These responses all tie back to the fundamental impulse to work that I started this module with. As this slide states, if you take away the opportunity to be creative, to be decisive, to be productive, you strip away a piece of what makes us human. Let me add that this applies not only to unemployed people. There are a lot of jobs that rob us of our humanity. Many people, sadly, are stuck in dead-end jobs that offer no outlet for creative energy. And sadly, over time, one can lose one's creative energy. The most basic rule of management, then, is to understand why people work. It's not just about recognition or a paycheck or security or doing good in the world. It's more fundamental than all of that. Micromanagers don't understand this. Dictatorial managers don't understand this. Ego-driven managers don't understand this. Good managers understand it. Good managers embrace it and apply it in the workplace. So, for those of you who are sports fans, you'll recognize that gentleman as Phil Mickelson, and the trophy he is holding is the trophy of the Open, it's called. It used to be called the British Open. It's one of the 4 major golf tournaments held every year, and Phil Mickelson was the winner this year. So I put this up to talk about the joy of winning, the joy of achievement. You know, and in our world, the nonprofit world, maybe that joy of achievement is getting the big gift. Maybe it's advancing our program. Maybe it's adding new programs to our mission. But we all experience at some point the joy of winning. And I've done some reading on this. And some psychologists believe that the joy of winning doesn't come in the prize. Now, Phil Mickelson got a wonderful trophy and a lot of money. But the true joy comes in reflecting on the work that it took to get there. The hours, the days, the weeks, the months, sometimes the years of effort that it took to achieve something is what brings joy. The actual winning of something, the actual gift, we'll say, if you're a fundraiser, certainly is joyful. Certainly we feel good about advancing our mission. We feel good about our accomplishment. But the real joy is reflecting on everything that it took to get there. And that reinforces the point that work is something that is fundamental to the human species. And managers can either unleash the creative energy, unleash the freedom to work, the freedom to think, or they can choke it off. This brings us to the end of Module 5. I hope you'll take away from this the notion that management is very much related to human nature. We can make it work for us, this notion of work. We can make it work for us and thereby serve our organizations and advance our missions. Or, if we manage differently, we'll be doing a disservice to our organizations and to our missions. In our next module, I'll show you how to make it work for you.